Hello, and welcome to Echoes of Color with Jeffery Morrison. How's it going? I'm going to do another WIP and chat. Yeah, I know it's been a couple days. I was at work on my current night cycle, finishing it off. I'll be done this weekend with the night cycle, and then I'll shift back to days. So, see. Well, I didn't realize my lamp was doing that much glare, but there we go. I'll move it accordingly. As long as I can see the symbols, hopefully. Okay. Yeah, there'll be some glare on that adhesive, but anyway, we're continuing with Diamond Art Club's I Am by Ravine Phelan. Alright, it's this really cool dragon. Diamond shape round, size 20 inches by 28 inches, 51 by 71 centimeters. 29 colors, and 2 ABs, which stands for Aurora Borealis. They're just extra sparkly sparkly drills, I mean. I'll just explain that. Yeah, I'll just probably say that every time. There's ABs, Aurora Borealis, or ultra shinier gems. Or drills, gems. Keep saying gems, holy cow. Here's me on like a couple hours sleep, but if I slept most of today, I'd be up all night, and yeah, I have tomorrow off as well, and I just wouldn't function properly. So, yeah, I drank another cup of coffee, probably about my like third, and I was dozing off on the couch watching the news flip. Oh, excuse me, waiting for the dishwasher to finish, and I'm like, I better just go diamond paint. Like, better just go do something. Because me sitting here on the couch, and it's just, yeah, not gonna get me anywhere. So, anyway, yeah, I worked a bit at this afternoon. Yeah, my mom was out in the studio here with me, so she was making masks, fabric masks for my nephew. So, yeah, my nephew wants a whole bunch of masks because he's going back to school. So, mom was out here, so I just film when nobody else is in the studio, so I don't interrupt what they're doing, and they don't interrupt what I'm doing. So I get studio time. It's not my studio, but yeah, here in the corner, and it's just that much more comfortable to do these whip and chats just when I know I'm in the studio. I've had to hit pause in the past to let my parents walk in and out. That it's just awkward. I'm always afraid they're gonna say something like while I'm doing these whip and chats, but yeah. I've had one interruption. I just left it in. Like, pretty funny. It was when I was like starting out, but okay. I'll do capital S is next year, so 740. All right. It is 740 lighter orange. If you can see it. Yeah, probably poured it into the tray. Yep. Yeah, I think this is the orange that's like really close to the color of the tray. Yeah, if not pretty much the color of the tray. It is an orange, so. Oh yeah, I should kind of point out where we are. If it's not, it's all good. Yeah, this is what the sticker sheet's for. Okay, so yeah, if I'm even on the camera. So we're right about where the wing is, like probably up to here. The top of the flame is like just right here. But yeah, I'm just doing like up to here where these drills are for this section, and then I'll probably go up and then across to the from left to right, and I'll probably have to roll up the bottom part of this canvas. So yeah, yeah, it's part of the flame, the wing, dragon's open wing here, and then the wing Yeah, on the wingtip. So, and part of the chest. So, and then after that, finish the flame completely. Yeah, finish with the top of the flame, and then the wing, and maybe part of the night sky. But yeah, that's the next section. And then more of the dragon's throat and back of the head. Yeah, we're getting there. I'd probably say like up here, like once you get the flame done, right about here would be about halfway. So we're getting there. Take her time. I do work. I do diamond paint off camera. Like I'm not recording WIP and chats. I do plug away at this. So it's alright. I'm bumping my drafting table. So we'll get there. Take her time. Just do WIP and chats as many as I can. Yeah, just record when I can, and yep, we'll just hang out, time and paint together, or can relax and listen. Yeah, my camera's not gonna. Yeah, might get some stuff. Camera maybe. Yeah, it's not all gonna get on, but okay. All right. All right. Hopefully everybody's doing good. Echoes of Color, Jeffery Morrison. I think I did that. Man. I'd be surprised if I'm like sleeping right now, but I'm awake somewhat. I finished my coffee, so yeah, just bear with me. But my days off, I do like, yeah, purposely carving out an hour. At least an hour to do a WIP and chat with the community. So on YouTube here. So it's important. So I'll do my best to get a video out. All I really have to do is hit record and then hang out for an hour, and I cherish every hour. So yeah, I received my copy of The Little Prince. It's a children's book directed towards that audience, I'd say. It's written in the World War II era. Around there, approximately. Yeah, so kind of the context surrounding the themes and overall message of the book is kind of the background, or kind of the whole idea of the book, maybe. It's the main character's perception of the world. Yeah, so ever since I watched that documentary the other day, which kind of springboarded my interest for The Little Prince, it was just a 1 hour documentary covering this book and the author. I wish I could remember his name, but yeah, just covered the author. Yeah, I just grabbed a copy of The Little Prince. It's available in quite a few languages, even Braille, as covered in the documentary. I just got the English paperback, of course. It's translated from French, of course, but yeah. It's available in Braille and tons of other languages. Assorted many different releases, like different cover art. But this version of the book stays kind of true to the original release. I believe the original art was restored or kind of preserved. Yeah, the whole mentality of the book, like the whole feel of the book is covered well in the pages. Okay, I may be moving my camera slightly back and forth because this S symbol is kind of scattered. So it'll be a very gentle tilt, and I'll probably mention that I'm moving the camera before, yeah. Just so everybody can see where I am on the canvas, just where I'm diamond painting, because I'm pretty sure I've diamond painted off camera before, while chatting, however, but yeah. I kind of make the focus diamond painting while I am chatting as well, but yeah, it's all good. I could do, yeah, there are S's up here, so yeah, I'll just do this bit first, and then I can probably move the camera back. I see my fly friend. My diamond painting companion is back. It's probably not the same fly, but I could be wrong. Yeah, in one WIP and chat, yeah, I was talking about The Little Prince. Yeah, I finished reading the book myself. It was like 80 or something pages, multiple chapters. Yeah, it had a pretty powerful few messages in it. I won't spoil it, but it's something to read. It's pretty insightful, and for its time, and it's probably still relevant today. Yeah, uh, there's a fox portrayed in the book, as well as a snake in the book. And yeah, somebody did comment about yeah, I believe I said that foxes are kind of portrayed as mischievous. This fox was pretty wise. Now that I read the book, I'm like, oh, the fox is coming up. And it's like, yeah, this fox was very wise and, yeah, cautionate. It is more along the lines of the snake not being very trustworthy this time around. But if anybody knows any examples of characteristics of foxes in literature or certain other situations, yeah, feel free to let me know in the comments down below, because it is interesting. Yeah, it was a wolf in Little Red Riding Hood, so that doesn't count. Fox. Zootopia comes to mind. Yeah. Main character as one of the main characters as a fox. Yeah, could be touted as resourceful, mischievous. Yeah, they can be easily misjudged too, foxes. Snakes, yeah, can get a bad reputation, yet there's probably context for their actions as well. Yeah, yeah, as I replied back in the comment, yeah, in some cases, yeah, foxes may or may not can be portrayed in negative ways. It, yeah, just lies on the situation to which the fox is within. The animal instinct kind of stays in the theme of the Little Prince when the main character interacts with the fox, and the fox like shares knowledge with the main character about, yeah, being in companionship with the fox in a way. Yeah, try not to spoil the book by any means. Like, it is readable within a day, but like if it's like a bedtime story to read to a child, yeah, it is broken up in chapters. Yeah, 20 over 20 chapters or something. Some are short, some are long. It's could be classified as a miniature novel. But yeah, there's artwork throughout, so it's good. Yeah, it's a picture book as well. I wouldn't say it's like a visual novel per se, but yeah, for some of the artwork, however, there's a caption underneath based on like a picture based on the text that you just read or you are presently reading, and then it's a picture to portray a certain situation. So it's not laid out like a comic book, though. It's like standard reading text, like a standard novel kind of text layout. It's not doesn't have any like speech bubbles or anything. That's kind of what I mean. It's illustrated, yeah, by the author himself. Yeah, he kind of brought this Little Prince to life just by sketching like hundreds, if not thousands, of these miniature doodles. So that was part of the documentary. But anyway, yeah. Yeah, the snake is, yeah, definitely not a very buddy buddy kind of character in The Little Prince, to say. Animal instincts are heavily portrayed between the fox. Yeah, the fox and the snake, definitely. Two characters or animals that the main character runs into and interacts with. Yeah, there's quite a few messages to go through on the Little Prince's journey. It's definitely a journey. Yeah, because he travels from his planet uh, when a flock of migratory birds uh, passes by his planet. I know, or asteroid, sorry. It's classified as an asteroid because it's small. It's a small object in space, but he lived on it, etc., etc. And he went on a journey to kind of understand his place in the world, or to, it could be, it's kind of like a parable, or yeah, kind of like a message based, yeah, it's a message based journey which just teaches you, you learn what the main character learns along the way. A parable, a tale, an adventure, yeah, a journey. I like calling it a journey because literally, yeah. So, yeah, The Little Prince, if, yeah. I've been asking like a couple of my coworkers if they've ever heard of it. And some of them say no, and then couple couple of them say, "Yeah, that's familiar." Yes, of course, that was a great book from another friend of mine. I'm like, wow, I just heard of it like a few days ago because of or last week because of a documentary that I watched with my mom that she had PVR'd. So it's amazing what you can learn. Okay, yeah, that's still on there. But anyway, it's something to read or to look into. if you are interested in books or literature. It's, yeah, kind of a fable. Yeah, it's fictional, of course, but yeah. It's slated as a children's book, but I'd say anybody of any age that can read or can be read to, yeah, I'd say it's a book to look into. It's, yeah. A small segment in literature, which is can be a huge ocean or universe of books to explore. But yeah, it's one of those that stands out in my opinion. It has a certain profoundness or importance to it, or a very intricate viewpoint of the world that could very well still apply today, depending on how you look at it. It could be, yeah, the book can definitely be interpreted differently. It's probably loaded with metaphors, symbolism, reflection of society at the time it was published, or some of those ideals still could very well reflect ideals or value still reflect the behaviors of today. Yeah, so it's kind of timely. Yeah, I don't want to explain too much about it. It's kind of a special individual experience, but you could probably find a summary online, a synopsis of the book if you really wanted to, but yeah, I set the book down a couple times, like, because I was doing other things, but I kind of had lunch, got takeout today. Yeah, just because I'm working on the weekend, so yeah, usually get uh, takeout on Saturdays, so. But I'm working nights, yeah, final weekend on nights, so I just went and got takeout so that I had it, yeah, so I could eat uh, takeout today. Man, awkward English, awkward. It's all good. But yeah, in that one comment, they mentioned that they play Animal Crossing. Yeah, I do remember the GameCube version when back when I played video games. There was a fox that I think kind of appeared in your town at certain intervals. I don't know if he was a resident or the fox was a resident. I think he tried selling questionable merchandise. I don't know if that still applies to the Nintendo Switch version. But yeah. Animal Crossing is basically a video game that I think some of the diamond pinning yeah, that I think some fellow content creators play. I do hear mentions of it in lives or WIP and chats, etc. Yeah, I was playing Animal Crossing on the Switch the other day, or was playing Animal Crossing in general. So, hey, it's all good. It's a pretty cool game, actually. I played the GameCube version. I have not seen the Switch version, but yeah, it has that same feel to it. If not, has quite a lot more going on. It probably updates regularly, or has the capacity to update. The GameCube version was what it was. Way back when. Yeah, I think it was the original Animal Crossing to be honest. That was the very first Animal Crossing, the GameCube version. Still cool. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you'd probably get a limiting feel as to what you could do on the GameCube version compared to probably the newer versions that are out. But you could design your own clothes, I think. Back in that first one, I think. You had to be at a certain spot on the game or something. Or was it once you met the Hedgehog sisters or whatever, the fashion designers? Yeah, could create designs, templates, and then put them on everything. Oh, a cool game. No way to knock it, but yeah, the animal theme. Yeah, yeah. I had mentioned the fox, and yeah. Yeah, the fox is very knowledgeable and wary of humans and sees them in a certain way. So the fox is wise in this regard, in this particular situation, with very limited context, but you get the feel for who the fox is in a very limited amount of time. And yeah, foxes are pretty cool, actually. I love foxes. They just look so cool, and they can be playful and can have a good time. Yeah, they're just perceived differently in some cases, as with the snake, definitely. Yeah, the snake wasn't as revered as probably the fox, or as appreciated as the fox probably was. But the snake had more reproach, or negativity portrayed towards it in The Little Prince than that of the fox. But there's not exactly. There's a wide cast of characters that the main character meets along his journey, but yeah, it's not like a huge entourage following the Little Prince around on his journey. It's basically how the Little Prince feels and the characters, how they feel or express themselves while the Little Prince is going on his journey. So yeah. Yeah, not gonna reveal like a whole ton. But yeah. Yeah, when I get stuck on discovering something like that, I think about it for a good chunk of time until I actually like experience it myself or see what it's all about. And yeah, it's yeah, pretty interesting piece of literature for sure. Yeah, this isn't reading Rainbow or anything, but you know, yeah, it's nice to just discover or learn about literature in snippets. And documentaries are can be pretty engaging if you have like the right subject matter. Yeah, because you can learn something in like an hour, or yeah, documentaries are usually 1 to 2 hours. Yeah, an hour generally, but yeah, you can learn different parts of the world, the relationships of nature to said environment. It can, yeah, learn about the history of a location. Well, yeah, Mysteries of the Abandoned is common. show that everyone watches in the house, generally on weekends. Cottage Life Network or whatever. Of all places for that to be on, that just Mysteries of the Abandoned. It's usually like repeat episodes. There are new episodes still airing. That's just on like Sunday nights or something. But yeah, we have satellite TV, whatever, a whole bunch of channels, la di da da. But anyway, yeah, watch that kind of stuff. Yeah, Mysteries of the Abandoned, like World War II era or incidents that happen in other countries, Russia, you know, yeah. World War One, World War II era kind of ruins. Yep. Industry, like early industry, the Industrial Revolution kind of places that are abandoned for certain reasons. Yeah, or natural disasters. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah, I like that kind of stuff. They're usually like they just air episode after episode, even if it's like repeat. They just kind of play probably like 10 episodes or quite a few episodes, one right after the other. Just watch a couple, then I go do something else, but still, it's. Oh, just one of those shows where you can just like relax for that amount of time that you watch it and actually learn a bit of history and then learn about a place even if it isn't doesn't have the happiest of history. You just learn about a different part of the world. And then what on earth is similar to Mysteries of the Abandoned, but yeah, it's just weird like structures discovered by satellites just in various places on the earth. Yeah, just go all over the map. Well, so as Mysteries of the Abandoned, it's like specific places out in the middle of the ocean, you know, etc. Shipwrecks. Yep, really cool. That kind of stuff. Yeah, the shows are fun to watch. Okay. I'm just gonna tweak the camera just a bit over here. Okay. Yeah, just a tad. Yeah, I'm just doing still doing S at the moment, but you can kind of see where they're kind of scattered in here, hiding. But yeah, watch that kind of stuff. Read the odd book. Yeah, listen to a couple. Like started listening to that Billy Summers kind of new Stephen King book on Audible. Slowly getting into it. Dear knows what could happen. It's a Stephen King novel, so Stephen King book, so probably gonna be like a huge twist in it or something. I don't know. Basically about an assassin. Yeah, who wants to retire but ends up getting one more job, and then it goes from there. It would be a boring book if he didn't take the job, so I believe the character does do whatever this job is. I am literally just like 2 or 3 chapters in to the audio book, so just basically introducing the main character and like a couple other characters that he has had history with, and yeah, it just goes from there, I guess. I think it's present day, because President Trump, Donald Trump, is mentioned in the book. So, yeah, that kind of gives you a timestamp. Yeah, just kind of time and place. So, the publishing of the book may or may not have been affected by COVID. So, I don't know, one of the characters says, so what do you think about the Donald Trump guy as president or something? So, yeah, I think that's just like a kind of a timestamp, or puts you, kind of gives you like a time or like a year as to where the setting is, where the events take place. So, yeah. Yeah, the ex-president's name was just mentioned while I was listening to the audiobook. It's a work of fiction, of course. It's, yeah. That was just a time and place kind of setting establishment. So, kind of a way to place the reader in a certain time so that the events of the story can unfold in a certain context. So, yeah. I don't know, it's kind of a slow start compared to that of like the singularity trap or whatever that I was listening to before. Science fiction to like kind of, I don't know, espionage. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's probably like a spy type story for the Stephen King one that just through the eyes of an assassin, like his experience of whatever events are going to happen in this particular story. So I don't know if Billy Summers is a new character or I could be wrong, or I don't know, present day, set in present day or recent present day. And yeah. Oh, he's an experienced marksman from what I gather. Yeah, the main character, so that's about all I know. Yeah, other than that, pretty calm day. Oh, excuse me. Oh boy. Thought it was going to storm. The wind did pick up for a bit, but it did try raining for a couple minutes earlier tonight, but the storm system or low pressure system must have moved on or something, or blew over. Had rain and stuff last night. We had lightning, at least, last night. The power did flicker for a split second at work. Yeah. Power outages really suck at work, especially when stuff's running. Machinery's running. It just automatically shuts down if there's a power failure, which is a given, because natural gas and all that. So it's a fail-safe kind of thing. Yeah, stuff will just shut right down if the power like goes out longer than that very brief blip of, it was a flash and then the power stayed on. So, oh, that's. It's just better to shut the line down, like in a certain way, instead of there being a power outage and you still have product in the system. It's, yeah, it's not good for the product. The egg, it's basically raw egg, so you just kind of either get it refrigerated or you dry it within a quick time frame, just so you don't get bacterial growth. And yeah, point A to point B in a timely manner. Yeah, so if a power outage and you have egg warming up to the temperature of the room without air conditioning or make up air to kind of regulate the humidity of the room that the machinery is in, yeah, you're asking for trouble. Have to basically switch back to water, clean the pipes out, yeah, and like wash the lines with chemical and all that before starting back up after a period of time of the equipment being down. Definitely a big food safety thing for sure. Yeah, don't fool around with raw egg in any regard. Even if it's a powder, like been dried, don't go getting that wet because you'll just have a bacteria festival. Yeah, it'll turn back into egg basically, but yeah. It's just asking for trouble if you get egg wet. Powder, dried out egg wet. Or if you have wet egg, liquid egg, spilling all over the place, it's not good either. On a hot surface, yeah, you'll get scrambled eggs pretty quick, but or a consistency of scrambled eggs. It's minimal contact with the product. It gets transferred with stainless steel piping and stored in temperature controlled silos, etc. Yeah, it's not exposed to room temperatures for, if at all, for long periods of time. Yeah, the temperature's regulated to an extent. Yep. Yeah, basically read that Little Prince book, like the rest of it. Yeah, they answered a couple of the comments that I had about previous videos, yeah, about the fox and stuff. Yeah, pretty laid back kind of day. Got home, kind of ate, brushed my teeth, and then went to bed for a couple hours. Been yawning all day, just like a couple hours of sleep, but having at least that couple hours, I'd function to a certain extent. Caffeine's a somewhat of a help, but yeah, if you don't get enough sleep, yeah, it's pretty easy to doze off. Yeah. Don't worry, I'll sleep tonight. Like, I already technically had a shower, so I can just go back into my pajamas and just like sleep. Sleep tonight. It's all good. This is like normal when I'm off for a couple days. Yeah, it's just so I don't lose my days off when I'm on night. On days, yeah, I just work till 7 p.m., come home, and I can sleep normally, and I just have to get up in the morning and go do my shift. Like, only difference on nights is that I sleep during the day on the days that I work. Yeah, my phone's off, and I just sleep for. I sleep a lot better when I'm on nights than when I'm on days, because having that night owl mentality, just that night owl instinct, and just, yeah, being on YouTube or something late at night, which, like, is like probably like one of the most terrible things to do before going to bed. But I'm usually in the house with my parents or whatever, or my mom, and yeah, there are times where I don't have headphones, so I just don't willy-nilly watch YouTube without having some headphones on. Even when I'm in my room, I just put headphones on and turn the volume up on my phone when I'm watching YouTube. I just watch videos with headphones on. Yeah. Earphone jack, headphone jack in my phone, and yeah. I just naturally wear, yeah. I do have cordless headphones as well that I use out here. I did charge them, but I haven't brought them out into the studio because I do meditate out here and in my room, but I have a few pairs of headphones that I just leave in certain parts of the house, with the exception of when I have to charge my cordless ones. Yeah, cordless has like good bass and audio, like they're higher grade headphones, but yeah, corded headphones are just as good. Not as good sound wise, but that doesn't bother me too much. Just the fact that I'm listening to my own stuff and not blaring it throughout the house to disturb everybody else in the house. There are times when my mom plays audiobooks out here. She probably goes through like a couple audiobooks a week if she wanted to. Yeah, she listens to books, reads books. Yeah, she probably goes through a couple books every 2 weeks. Or a month if it's like 3 or 4 books in a series, which she did in July. She read like a trilogy. I think it was 3 books in July. They were period pieces. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, they were like historical fiction kind of books. Oh, excuse me. Holy cow. Between yawning and burping or whatever I'm doing. Wow. Had hiccups at one point too. We had hamburgers for supper. And it's like all of a sudden I get hiccups for like that few seconds there, a few minutes. It's like, oh, great hiccups. I'm always impressed when I get hiccups, and then yeah, I just go for a few minutes there. Parents just laugh at me. Ah, you got hiccups again, huh? And then, yeah. Just that slight frustration when you get hiccups, and it's like, try holding your breath, and yeah, take a deep breath and like hold it. They just go away on their own eventually, but take deep breaths or whatever. I'm sure there's like a whole bunch of different ways to deal with hiccups, but eventually they go away. I'm sure you've heard of like all the remedies for hiccups and other assorted ailments. oh, do this, they'll go away like a charm. It's like, yeah. I think it's just an excuse to do something silly to, when your body can probably naturally just deal with the hiccups or gas or whatever. So normal human body functioning stuff. But yeah, there are probably times where your body just goes into hyper reaction mode, and yeah, you have uncontrolled hiccups that just won't seem to stop, and yeah, gas and etc. But yeah, and supplements, or yeah, go talk to your doctor or something, get looked at. If you have symptoms that just seem to keep going for some reason and aren't stopping on their own, yeah, get medical attention. Be a good suggestion. I'm no physician, but yeah, if something's bothering you and it's making you uncomfortable or others around you uncomfortable, yeah, go see a doctor. Yeah. I'm not a medical doctor, but not recommending any specific medical treatments or anything, but yeah, if you're feeling comfortable or like a pile of garbage, if you feel that way, if something's bothering you with your body, yeah, go get it looked at. It's just easier, but yeah, situations revolve around going to see a doctor too, so yeah, can understand. Yeah, just hope you recover or get better if something is ailing you. Yeah, because yeah, it's a drag to feel like garbage if you're sick or something, ill. Because I know what lack of electrolytes in the body is like. I experienced that one day at work. Oh man, that's a dreadful feeling. Just electrolytes. It's a certain balance in the body, and if you don't have that balance, yeah, your body just. I had a bout of nausea and all that. I just felt dizzy. Yeah, it's definitely something neurological if you don't have electrolytes. It's kind of like you basically drink Gatorade, or yeah, there are certain beverages that just naturally have electrolytes. I don't know if it's like salt based or something, certain vitamin or something. Yeah, it just grounds you or makes you feel normal again. Okay, that's us. Yeah, we're basically working on orange this whole whip and chat, but yeah, we've been chatting away, so it's all good. Yeah, this is still in the shot. Okay. Oh, I feel like I just changed this wax, and yeah, the drills are. Every once in a while, drills aren't picking up. I have tons of wax, mind you, but just sometimes you're like stabbing at a drill and it's like, there is wax in the tip of this pen. I swear. I put it there. It's like, why is it not going? Yeah, the drills, a lot of the drills look sparkly and just fine, and then after, yeah, it's probably just the air getting out the wax. It will inevitably dry out. Yeah, there's sticky tack, and there's, yeah, patty wax, and all those other waxes that I'm sure are more resilient to drying out or last longer. True. Glue dots. Yeah, I've heard of quite a few alternatives to wax, but I just use the wax that comes in the kits. I'm pretty basic. Keep it simple, I just want a diamond paint. Because patty wax is pretty popular. Probably sells out each time a new batch is made. Yeah, probably a couple of content creators, YouTubers that sell wax that like diamond paint, of course. Sell the diamond painting wax. Yeah, I heard yeah, they're like almost always mentioned. Patty wax or something is always mentioned. If it works, yeah, keep using it. Yeah, it is an alternative to just the pink wax if diamond painters don't like pink wax. I don't know if it's on the pricier side. Yeah, I really don't like hear prices mentioned. Just like the products themselves, like patty wax and glue dots. Yeah, glue dots are more like a more established company kind of created product. Wow, corporate. Yeah. More well-known company. Not that Patty Wax or any of the other independent. No, no, don't get me wrong. Those are well-known as well. They're talked about constantly. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Not bashing anybody's wax. It's an alternative. It's, yeah. Yeah, it's basically field of choice, and if it works, stick with it, of course. I can't really vouch for any other waxes because I just use pink waxes, but I do hear constant mention of patty wax, etc., etc. And yeah, yeah, just as I've said, find equipment or accessories, diamond painting or crafting accessories that you're comfortable working with, and it will make your experience diamond painting, etc., etc., more comfortable, and you'll enjoy it a lot more instead of having to worry about your hardware breaking once you touch it or just look at it. Or having to replace accessories constantly. Yeah, just work with what you are comfortable with. Experiment a little. Yeah, look around. Get a feel for some different accessories. Yeah, I just pretty basic. This diamond painting pen was a gift. It's symbolism of the channel. Symbol for the channel. I bought cover minders. Yeah. Wax holder. Etsy. Yeah. I do have a few accessories, but yeah, I've shown them in past WIP and chats, but nothing. They have to microwave a bag of popcorn and then you're watching for half an hour. No. I don't have an extravagant amount of accessories. They work for me. Like, I'm glad I have that wax container. Because if I had that wax in any other, stored in any other way, it'd probably just be dried out by now and I'd be throwing it out, which I really don't want to. I use as much of the surface area as a pad of wax as I can before I throw the remnants out, like what I can't use out at the most. Yeah, I don't like wasting that kind of stuff. Yeah, that probably have like a ton of kits and a few pads of wax. Yeah, just the pink wax. But yeah, I'm Probably still working through like my very first kit ever wax. I do gradually go through wax. I may press hard at times. Square drills may make me press harder, or I'm straightening with the end of my diamond painting pen while putting the drills in place. So yeah, I think wax usage in any regard might go up if you're doing square drills. Could be the same with rounds. I don't know. Yeah, depends on how you diamond paint. But I see that it just switched to an hour, so you've been watching Echoes of Color with Jeffery Morrison. Talked about a couple things today. Oh, it's not bad. Hey, main mentality. You got drills placed on the canvas, so that's the whole core concept of WIP and jazz. So it's all good. And hanging around for the hour or so. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, so Echoes of Color, Jeffery Morrison. As always, I put my Facebook profile name, my first and last name, in the description below. My Echoes of Color Facebook business page, just basically an update regarding progress on canvases and coloring pages for color and chats that I do on this channel as well, but not as much. I do them every once in a while. I only have so many coloring books to work through, but way more canvases and yeah. Yeah. And I have an Instagram as well, and that's just basically I end up posting updates on like my personal Facebook page, my Echoes Color business page, and my Instagram, because Instagram is automatically set to post to my Facebook profile. So you'll see a lot of meditation quotes as well, because I meditate and I can post to Instagram. I can post those pictures or quotes after I meditate onto Instagram and Facebook respectively at the same time. So yeah, basically update pages. Yeah, just basically updates about Echoes of Color, the channel here. And yeah, I'll be down below in the description. Click any of my videos and you should find, yeah, that information. So yeah, other than that, I'll get this edited. Just basically add my logo at the start and the end, and then make sure I have the two recordings in order, and then yeah, post it the same day, because I can only hold one edited video on my phone, and I take it off once I post it to YouTube. But anyway, yeah, telling you backstage stuff, but I always will, probably. My focus of Echoes of Color is to either color and chat with you, do unboxings, or yeah, diamond paint. So that's probably like going to be like the main core of the channel. They're really easy to produce, and I enjoy doing them. And it's literally an hour of coloring or an hour of diamond painting, which I love, and unboxings are awesome as well. So yeah. All right, take care everybody. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.